China is now getting involved with Iran. Is this the start of World War III? China is sending an envoy to the Middle East. I'm sure they are not happy. The United States first got rid of the leader of Venezuela. Venezuela used to send a lot of oil to China. China is the world's largest importer of oil. They are not self reliant when it comes to oil. We will talk about that difficult term in a little bit. Thankfully, China does not go to war often. In fact, the last time they invaded another country was in 1979 when they invaded Cambodia. But this war is already expanding. The Kurds in Iraq might be invading Iran. Kuwait, the UAE, and Oman have had missiles sent in their direction, some of them actually landing. Russia is sending help. We will talk about that in a later English lesson. I am so worried about what is going on in the world that I canceled my hotels and my flights to China this summer. Hopefully, I can visit in 2027. If you like talking about what is going on in the world and watching the news to help you improve your English, this is the perfect channel for you. In today's English lesson, we are going to watch a news report on how China feels about this war in Iran. Before we watch the news clip together, please go ahead and subscribe. We are trying to hit 100,000 subscribers this year. And of course, like the video. Let's watch the clip together, and I will come back and teach all of those difficult terms.
China is laying out its economic future as the second biggest economy in the world. President Xi Jinping just unveiled a 5-year plan outlining goals for growth, budgets, industrial policy, and defense. In the backdrop, the war with Iran is adding to China's mounting economic issues.
We are getting serious. The glasses are going on, so serious that we are starting with an English phrasal verb, laying out. Laying out. For each of these terms, I'll have a picture, I will have the definition, and I will use it in a sentence. So it seems like AI thinks that Joe Biden is still the president of the United States. You can see him there clearly in the picture. Here's the definition for laying out: explaining a plan, idea, or sequence of events clearly. In other words, step by step. So for this English lesson, I have laid out, that's the past tense, I have laid out all of the difficult terms for you. But let's get another sentence that uses laying out. The president is laying out his new plan to create more jobs. Next, we have unveiled. Sometimes you might see an object like a face covered in a veil. And if you see un at the beginning of a word in English, think like the opposite. So unveiled means showed or announced something new to the public for the first time. The tech company unveiled its newest smartphone at the big, I am covering it, at the big event. Next, we have in the backdrop. You'll also hear in the background. They're pretty much the same thing. Let's get the definition. The situation or events happening in the background while something else occurs. So here we have some sort of election happening, and it looks like it might be happening in India. The peaceful elections happened in the backdrop of a struggling economy. So while this war is going on, China will be sending an envoy in the backdrop or in the background, hopefully getting a peace deal. I don't know. Mounting. There is mounting tension between the United States and China. It seems like there always is. But be careful. This is not mountain. That's like that high place some people like to ski down. This is mounting. That's how you pronounce it. Mounting. Slowly increasing or growing larger. Often used for pressure or problems. Take a look at that picture. It looks like that person's work is mounting for them. They actually have a mountain of papers there. Notice the different pronunciation. There is mounting work in that picture. They have a mountain of papers there. Here's the sentence. There is mounting pressure on the mayor to fix the city's broken pipes.
CBS News foreign correspondent Anna Coren is live in Beijing covering the National People's Congress. It's so great to have you sort of at sort of the epicenter of another factor of all this. So we're going to get to the impact of the war on China in a moment. But what's coming out of the National People's Congress this morning?
Well, Kelly, the Premier Li Qiang, he delivered the report inside the Great Hall of the People. We were there to watch it, as was Chinese leader Xi Jinping. He was on stage, but just listening. But he set a growth target of less than 5%. Now, it hasn't dropped below 5% in more than 30 years. So that came as a bit of a surprise, certainly here in China. Although, if you take into consideration, what this economy has been going through, it probably isn't a surprise.
Number 5, we have epicenter. Epicenter. Notice center is in that word. That helps. This is often used with earthquakes. It's like the main part of the earth where the earth is shaking. Often the most damage occurs at the epicenter, at least if it's in a populated area. Let's get the definition for epicenter. They use it a little differently in the newscast. The exact center of an event, usually a crisis, disease, or earthquake. Here is a sentence. The large city quickly became the epicenter of the new health crisis. Back in 2020, remember that virus that was going around the world 6 years ago? China, at least at the beginning, was the epicenter of that virus. It started in China, right? Wuhan, I believe. Next, we have to take into consideration. Yeah, it's quite lengthy. To take into consideration. Let's talk about what that means. To think carefully about something important before making a final decision. And in the picture, you can see we have a judge, and it looks like the person who got in trouble was pretty old. So if he was younger, maybe she would sentence him to jail for a longer period of time. But maybe since he is older, she will take that into consideration. Let's get the sentence. The judge will take the man's age into consideration.
Weak domestic consumption, high youth unemployment, as well as a property crisis. It's still reeling from something that happened 5 years ago.
Number 7, domestic. This is different from foreign. In fact, it's the opposite. Domestic, happening inside a person's own country, not foreign or international. And in the picture, you can see there is an airport, and maybe this is where domestic flights are being held. The airport was busy today because domestic travel has increased. We have consumption. Consumption, it is a noun. Consume is the verb. So every day I consume food. Maybe you do too, unless you are fasting for Ramadan. If you are, I hope you are having a nice reflective time for Ramadan, and maybe you aren't consuming food if the sun is up. Let's get the official definition for this noun, consumption. The act of using, buying, or eating something. The government wants to reduce the country's daily oil consumption. And as we said before, we know China's oil consumption is pretty high. They have a lot of people. They have a lot of cars. They consume a lot of oil, just like the United States does. Youth. I wish I had a youthful appearance. I have my glasses on. Luckily, I do have a filter on my face, which makes me look a little more youthful. Let's talk about what youth means. Young people in general. The program is focused on how housing prices are affecting the youth today. And I'm not sure how it is in your country, but in the United States, Americans who are like in their 20s, maybe even 30s, it is really hard for them to buy a house right now. The housing is just so expensive here. Reeling is next. We have so many different ways in English that we use real. In fact, if you are a channel member this week, I am doing an English lesson about all the different ways Americans use the word real. By the way, it's a lot. But in the newscast, they use the verb reeling. Reeling. Let's talk about what reeling means. Feeling shocked, confused, or very unsteady after a bad event. So if you look at the picture, it looks like this town has experienced some kind of natural disaster, maybe a hurricane or a tornado. Let's get the sentence. The town is still reeling from the terrible storm last week.
Still reeling from something that happened 5 years ago. So this is an economy that is slowing its expansion, and obviously the growth target reflects that. You mentioned that 5-year plan, and this is like a grand vision for China. It's about self-reliance. That's what Xi Jinping wants the country to focus on, removing its reliance from the West, obviously removing its reliance from the Middle East on oil, but really becoming a global leader in industries, particularly AI and quantum computing technologies as well.
I used a term similar to this earlier in the lesson, self-reliant, self-reliance. They're basically the same thing, just different parts of speech. What does it mean if somebody has self-reliance? Depending on your own abilities and resources instead of needing help from others. The country is working hard toward energy self-reliance. And unfortunately, China is not self-reliant when it comes to oil. They need to import a lot. The United States does too. I don't know anything about this next term. I can only describe it, but this is a little over my head when it comes to technology. Quantum computing. What does that mean? Advanced computer technology that can solve highly complex problems much faster. Scientists believe quantum computing will change medicine development.
But as I say, that war in the Middle East is impacting China, and the longer it drags on, it will have a real long-term impact on this country's growth and its economy. China and Iran are very close allies. It's a partnership that has been in existence for more than 50 years. And obviously, when the US and the West imposed those sanctions on Iran over its nuclear weapons program, Iran was selling the majority of its oil, most of its oil, in fact, to China. So China has benefited from this cheaper sanctioned Iranian oil. China is the world's largest importer of energy. 70% of its oil and natural gas comes from imports, and half of that is from the Middle East. So obviously, this has been a major disruptor to that supply line. And this is something, we heard from the Foreign Minister Wang Yi, straight after the attacks, and he said that America had violated international laws, that they'd assassinated a sovereign leader, and that they were pushing the region to a dangerous abyss. So
here we have a great English phrasal verb to know, drags on. Hopefully this war does not drag on for too much longer. Let's get the definition. Continues for a very long time, often longer than expected or wanted. And in the picture, you can see a supermarket, and the shelves look pretty bare, we might say. They look pretty empty. Here is a sentence that goes along with that picture. As the worker strike drags on, supermarkets are running out of food. So maybe there is a truckers' strike, which means all of the people who drive trucks and carry food to the store, they are striking. They are not going to work. Maybe they want better pay. Well, if there is nobody to drive the food to the store, the food can't get to the store. So hopefully that strike does not drag on for too much longer. Obviously, this is a great word to know in English. This might be review. I hope it is. But if you don't know this word in English yet, you can use it pretty much every day. Obviously, This means in a way that is very easy to see or understand. In other words, clearly. Take a look at the man. He is obviously in love with that woman. Let's read the sentence. By the way he looks, he is obviously in love with her. Now, I hope all of the definitions, the pictures that I'm using today are obvious to you. I hope they help you with your English and learning. Next, we have a verb, imposed. Imposed, that means forced a new rule, tax, or punishment on a person or country. The government imposed a hefty tax on imported cars. The United States has imposed a tariff on goods from China. My microphones and my cameras come from China. I'm not sponsored by DJI, but I do like their products, and it is getting very hard to get them here in the United States simply because the United States has imposed a tariff on Chinese goods. A disruptor, that is a noun. What is a disruptor? A person or company that changes the normal way an industry works with a new idea. Take a look at the picture. If that electric car can drive hundreds and hundreds of miles before needing a charge, that would be a major disruptor to the world. The world might not need as much oil. Here is a sentence. The electric car company is a major disruptor in the auto industry. Next, we have sovereign. Sovereign. What does that mean? Having the highest power or authority, an independent country that rules itself. Now, a lot of people or a lot of countries around the world don't like the fact that the United States has removed two leaders of sovereign countries this year, first in Venezuela and now in Iran. So if a country is sovereign, they make their own rules, they probably have their own money, they can govern themselves. Let's get a sentence. The peace treaty respects the borders of every sovereign nation. And we have a flag of India for the second time in this English lesson. An abyss. What is an abyss? Well, it's a very deep, dark hole. But in the newscast, they use it a little differently. Here's the rest of the definition, or a very dangerous, hopeless situation. The country's economy will fall into an abyss. That is it. If you want to watch all of the English lessons that have something to do with the war in Iran, they are right down there. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.